Hello everyone, my name is Bukky. Welcome to my channel, your number one place where you learn about personal finance and career. Today we'll be talking about a career topic, and that is 5 questions you should ask your interviewer during the interview. Now we are getting gradually to the post-COVID era, and which means that the interviews would keep coming in, which also means that businesses that have been shut during this period would like to reopen. Probably also companies that have cut down some positions during the pandemic would also reopen. And anyway, but this particular topic, it's evergreen, because whether during the pandemic or after or before, there would always be interviews, whether it is through remote, through your phones, or through video interviews, or through physical interviews. This particular topic would help you either way. All right. So, and why is this particular topic is important? Because, you know, when you go for interviews, of course, the hiring manager or the manager who is hiring you would ask you several questions. They want to know about you as a person. They want to know about your skill set. They would ask you behavioral questions. They would ask you situational questions. They will ask you about your experiences. They want to know about your competencies. They want to know your technical skills, right? So all of this is fine. When you go for interviews and you also ask your own questions, you go prepared with your own questions. It's like you adding an icing or a frosting on a cake. You know, it gives some kind of perfection to you as a person, to your brand as a person for that particular role. And that is why it is really important that you just don't go for interviews waiting for the other person to ask all the questions. You should also go to ask your own questions, right? Because the thing is, when you work for companies, it's not just about the company's interest in you. You also have to have an interest in the company, and that is why this is really important. Right, so it's a two-way thing. It's not just about, I'm just looking for a company to hire me. I'm also looking for a company that I'm okay or I'm comfortable working at. I'm looking for a company that I can represent their brand. I'm looking for a company that I can put on my CV that, okay, this is a company I once worked for. You know, I don't want to work with a company that I'm ashamed to write their name on my CV. And that is why this question is important, because then when you ask your own questions in an interview, you get to understand the new environment you might likely end up and know if this is actually something for you or not. Without much ado, after this break, we'll take a deep dive. Welcome back. The first question I would ask when I go for interview would be, what is the next step? Now, sometimes this is already discussed or mentioned to you while you're discussing, or immediately the interviewer finishes with his question. The person tells you, okay, these and these are the next things that we're going to do. We need like 5 days or 1 week or 1 day to decide, and then we'll get back to you. If this was not mentioned, please make sure you ask this question. What is the next step? When am I expected to get a response from you? And that shows that you are someone that's responsible and you are interested in the follow-up, right? It shows that you are interested in that company, and that's really important. And if you're given, saying, okay, you have a chat with the manager that is speaking to you, and then maybe they give you the person's name, right? And then you can go on LinkedIn and check the person out and see, okay, what's the profile like? What do you think might interest this particular person? And that is why it is really important for you to know the next steps. And it's also important because then you know when you expect the feedback, right? And you're not waiting until forever and you're not getting any feedback, and you don't even know where you stand in the whole process. And this is very important. Therefore, make sure you always have answer to this particular question. The second question you want to ask would be that, is this a newly created role or a role to be refilled. And why is this question important? It's important because if it's a newly created role, it means that there's so many things uncertain about this role, right? That's regarding the job, which means when you come into this position, you would have to like structure a couple of things, create things, put things into perspective, create processes, procedures, create a whole new set of things. And if this is not your strength, it might be difficult for you. And that's why it's really important that you know if this position is newly created or it's a refill. Now, if it's a refill, it means that there are existing processes and procedures, there are existing structures that you can just build upon, right? And that's why it's really important that you ask this question. Sometimes during the introduction, they would have answered this particular question, saying, okay, this is a newly filled role, why we are trying to restructure, or this is a refill because the person that's occupied this role is leaving. Now, the third question, I think it's really important for you to ask would be, what's the culture of your company like? Or team might be a little bit different from the culture of the company as a whole, right? But then why is this question important? Because, for example, it's important because if it's a place that you would feel okay working in, or if it's a place that it doesn't really work with your own values as a person. So there are different kind of company cultures that exist. There are some companies that they are very collaborative. It's all about the team. There are companies that are very competitive, right? I mean, even within the team, co-workers compete within themselves. There are companies like that. There are companies that are very hierarchical, and which means that for you to get decisions, it could take time. It could take a lot of time, right? And then that could be worrisome or burdensome. And also, it also means that, and which means that, for example, if it's a flat company, like the hierarchy is quite small, which means then you're able to get your decision making fast and easily, and you are able to get things done fast, which means it's highly paced, right? So if you're not someone that can work in a highly paced environment, maybe that is not something for you. Maybe that company is just something for you. So like I said, there are different cultures of different within organizations, and make sure that you actually find out what is their culture, because if the culture of that company doesn't fit the way you work, you might find it difficult to like fit in. Because then if it's something that is really different from the way you work, it means that you have to put in more energy, more power to make sure that you're able to work perfectly in that company. So definitely is a good question to ask the hiring manager or whoever is speaking to you in that interview. Now, the fourth question I would ask is that, what is your leadership style like? Now, this question suits or works better if you know that this is the person I am going to be working with, like this is the hiring manager. It doesn't make sense for you to ask a recruiter that question or an HR manager that question if you're not going to be working in the future with the HR manager. And why is this question important? Because there are different ways people lead people. There are some people who lead you by just being visionary, being strategic, and then they give you the free will or the leeway to get the thing done. They just tell you what they want to achieve, and then you are left alone to go and pursue that vision or whatever idea they've given unto you, and you bring back results, right? And there are some people that they share there are some people that lead by, they give you the idea and then they tell you how to do it, and then in every step they ask you to come back and then tell them where are you now, a kind of micromanaging. Now the problem is, if you're not someone that's likes someone micromanaging him or her, it becomes difficult, because you think, okay, why is this person not allowing me to think? Why is this person not allowing me to flourish? Why is this person is my manager always asking me questions when I know what I'm doing? I just want to, all I care about is to deliver results, So you have to like know the kind of leadership style of your manager, right? You have to be sure that the leadership style works with your own followership style. Otherwise, if you just get in and without knowing this, right, it might be really difficult, and that's why most times people leave their job. You know, there is a research that said people leave managers, not their jobs, right? And that's because if the working ways of the two, I mean the employee and the manager, doesn't match, then there is a problem, and then you really want to get out as fast as you get in, and I think you don't want to do that, right? So make sure, and that's why it's really important that you ask this question, because then it gives you an insight into how you are expected to be, how you will be led. And if it doesn't work for you, then maybe you want to have a rethink about taking up that job. Now, the 15 I would normally ask is that, what are the 3 most important changes you want to see in the next 6 months after filling this role? You know, this tells you what the priorities of the manager is, and then it's put into perspective for you the things you will be busy with when you start the job. This question is helpful for you, because then if by the time this manager is telling you, okay, I want this and this to be changed, I want this and this to be changed, or these are the things I want to be changed the moment I get this role filled, you then have to like go back into your own space and think, okay, this person said so and so, do I have the skills? What do I need to make sure that this needs of this manager is met within my 6 months? Do I have to quickly learn a new skill before I start the job? Do I have to, you know, read a particular book? Do I have to learn a particular framework? Do I have to create something? And then it helps you to prepare mentally, right, and also skill wise before you start the job. And this is a very important question to ask. And don't worry if the person says, oh, I don't have any, it's fine. When you start, you will see what are the major priorities are at that point, and then you can start working on them. Okay, now that will be all for me today, but there's one other question that I ask, and I think I would give it to you as a pro tip right before I close this particular video. And before I give you that particular tip, if you've not liked this video, please do like it. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification button, because when you click on the notification button, whenever I put up a new video, you get a message from me saying, hey, a new video is up, and then you can see this video. All right, so the 6th one, which is my pro tip I want to give to you for staying this long in this video, is that ask the manager, what are your major challenges and which of them is most pressing to you? Now, this particular question sounds a little bit like the 5th one I shared about what are the changes that you would like to see in the first 3 months, right? But they're actually different things. Changes are not necessarily challenges. Yeah, but a challenge is something that is really pressing, that is really dear to the person's heart, and it might be that this person doesn't even have the resource or the capacity, you know, to do it. Right, so if the manager opens up to you and tell you, okay, this and these are the challenges I'm currently having, and I will be so happy to like get it done, right? And then one thing you could do is, okay, you can already start discussing. So okay, you can, if you're lucky and it's something that you already also encountered, you can already start giving your ideas, you know. Or you can say, oh, I actually have something similar, I've actually faced something similar, and I will share with you some of the resources I used, right? And you could share this. And if at all after the interview you were not offered this particular position, right, still go ahead and give your own solutions, pay it forward, because most times paying it forward pays, right? It pays you. So just go ahead and provide your own solution as much as you can to the manager, and you'll be surprised at what will come back to you. All right, guys, I think I will stop there for now. Thank you so much for staying this long. And before I say my final goodbye, I would like to ask you, what is your most definitely must ask question to your interviewer when you go for interview? What is that question that even if you don't ask any questions at all, you must ask this particular question? Because you know that once you ask this particular question, it helps you to like know your chances with this company, or you want to know if this company is something for you. All right, I'll stop there for now, and don't go away. Stay back in my channel, see the other videos I have made about how to answer other interview questions, and I'm gonna see you some other time. Bye bye.